This will be my first Facebook Live. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Dr. Patrick Dower.
Yes.
I am known as what's called an O doctor. Every time somebody asks me what I am, I say I'm a chiropractor. They go, oh. So it never fails. Every time I'm in a crowd and I say that, they go, oh. Okay, so why are we here? So we're here for the movement workshop, and this, by the way, is our first Facebook Live we've done, so we'll see how it works out. I hope everybody who's watching will be able to see the screen okay, but if not, we'll figure it out next time. So we're going to go over not only why we want to move, because everybody has to move in order to be healthy, but how to do it in a way that's efficient and you don't have to spend hours and have a lot of drudgery over the thought of it. We do work out with our patients. There's no cost to it, twice a week, 7:30 a.m. Monday and 7:30 a.m. Friday. So 2 days a week. They're 12-minute burst train workshops. So in other words, it's 12 minutes. We're going to teach you how in 12 minutes, Judith, you've been to one in the past, haven't you?
Yes.
Andre comes into them all the time, so she knows that we rock those workshops. We get the music going. Everybody's adrenaline's pumping. I mean, you're so jacked up with adrenaline that even if you don't move, your heart rate's getting up there, right? So it's just a fun class we have back there. But one thing we're going to learn is that just working out isn't going to make you healthy, but it's an important aspect of it. So every time I do a talk, which we do like 30 a year normally, with COVID we haven't been doing as many, but typically we're doing about 30 a year. We're renting out the movie theater, we're showing healthy movies, we're doing recipe nights, we're doing cooking classes, workshop, we're doing it all. So we're going to start getting back into that as best we can, but we always talk about the 5 things that make you healthy, okay? There's always 5 things. And today we're going to focus on the working out, but we're going to incorporate how it affects the other things. So you got your mind and how you educate yourself on health and how you keep your stress down through relationships and your spiritual life. And then you have nutrition, okay? You got nutrition, which is the obvious one. Everybody talks about nutrition. Putting in good chemistry so that your body chemistry can work for you so you can live a long life. And then we got exercise, which we're going to talk about a lot today, physiology of the body, how to get oxygen into your cells, which is important for a long life. Chiropractic, your brain controls everything in your body. So how do you get your brain connected to your body? Well, through chiropractic, the brain gets connected to the body through the spinal cord. So every cell in your body has to talk to your brain. And how does it do that? It sends the messages through your spinal cord up to your brain. Your brain sends the messages back down through your motor system, through the spinal cord, out to all your tissues and cells and organs. That makes sense, right? But the one that a lot of people don't talk about enough is toxicity. So, in toxicity, if you're burning Glade candles at home and using perfumey bathroom scents and using lots of makeup that's toxic, and you're using a lot of plastic bottles to drink water out of, then a lot of these things are full of toxins, and you can exercise all you want, and you're not going to be a healthy person if you're putting too many chemicals into your body, right? So by putting those 5 things together, minimize your toxins, get your nutrition right, exercise, keep your mind right, and with the chiropractic, with the nervous system, those 5 things equal a healthy life. So I'm a doctor of 26 years. I have 6 kids raised without medications. So if I say I've raised 6 kids without medications, and my son is now in chiropractic school, so 6 kids without medications, then I must know something, right? So, I mean, we're talking never been immunized, never had Tylenol, aspirin, stuff, okay? So if they're able to live, and their age is 23 up to 33, it's not like there's little kids, right? So they've been able to go through life this way. And my grandkids are getting raised that way now too. So 5 out of 6 people die in this country of what? Heart disease and cancer. So this year, 585,000 people will die of heart disease.
Wow,
Okay? And that's every single year, but you don't hear about that so much as you hear about what now? COVID, right? So, and heart disease just totally wipes that out. Cancer. Another 560,000 people die every year, every single year, of cancer. And guess what? Last year it was less than that. So it's as high as it's ever been. Technology, breakthroughs that you always hear about, wonder drugs, It's not drugs that are going to fix you or stop you from getting heart disease or cancer. It's your lifestyle, okay? So one book that we really promote a lot is called Cancer Killer, which means the book is about the cause is the cure. The cause of cancer and heart disease is the cure, lifestyle. It's lifestyle that causes it. It's not your genetics. Everybody has to get it out of your head that it's your genetics, and we're going to go over that a little bit today. So the United States is 37th in the world in health. By the World Health Organization, we are rated 37th, which is not very good, right? There are third world countries that are actually healthier than us because we are over-invasive, we're drugging everybody, and we spend 3 times as much per person on healthcare in this country, and we're one of the sickest countries in the world, right? So if we do what everybody else does, what are we likely to die of if we do what everybody else does? Heart disease.
Heart disease and cancer.
5 out of 6 people, right?
Heart disease or cancer.
There's even a study I just read that 25% of 5-year-olds now have plaquing in their arteries. You take your average kindergarten class now, and 20 kids in a kindergarten class, 5 of those kids, every class of every city, of every state, has some plaquing in their arteries. And part of it is not only the foods they're eating, because I can't wait to show you the ingredient list of one of the most popular kids' meals coming up, which is why they're having plaquing and their lack of activity, right? So this is a culture that's starting to diminish its activity, eat more and more foods that are processed. They're allowing 3,000 chemicals. The FDA allows for 3,000 chemicals to be in our food supply right now. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 essentials all through this class, but we're going to talk about movement and how it relates to all those too. Okay, so you guys ready to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Say yes, thank you very much. So I'm Dr. Patrick, 26 years of practice, 6 kids raised drug-free, 3 grandkids, and I just threw this up here for the heck because a lot of people don't remember that Sarasota, for 1 year, had a semi-pro football team that didn't work out. Nobody came to the games, but I was their team doctor. But in 2008, Sarasota had a semi-pro football team called the Sarasota Seminoles. Yeah, I think we got about 200 people came to the game. And that was one of my patients. That's Bruno. All right, so our mission, we want to empower happier, healthier, drug-free lives through chiropractic care and integration of the 5 essentials like we talked about. But this is 5 of my 6 kids and 1 of my grandkids. This is just a picture I found earlier today, so I threw it up here. It's hard to find a picture with all of us. It's hard to get everybody together. So it's time to move. About 1 in 5, 21% only, adults meet the 2008 physical activity guidelines. Now the 2008 physical activity guidelines by the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, says that your average adult between age 18 and 64 should exercise 150 minutes a week. Only 1 in 5 even does that much. So 150 minutes a week, okay? So that's, 2.5 hours a week that the 1 out of 5, it sounds like a lot, right? Well, we used to actually exercise way more than that just automatically. Back in the days before, now we have to actually have technology, like our watches have to tell us to make more steps and get up, because this used to be, we used to live our lives that way. We used to have to go outside and play as a kid. You used to have to go outside to sow the fields and make your food, because there wasn't grocery stores everywhere. So for thousands of years, we had to actually move a lot in order to exist. So our genome, our DNA, our biology requires us to have movement in order for it to be healthy. It's actually programmed into us. So if we don't do that, then what you're going to find out today is that it flips switches, called epigenetics, flips switches that causes disease to happen, because when you exercise, it keeps those switches from being flipped. And so we're going to talk, that's very important. It's not your genetics, it's not your DNA, it's your lifestyle, and your lifestyle affects the DNA switches that turn on and off that cause heart disease and cancer. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So inactive adults have a higher risk, of course, for early death, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, depression, and some cancers. 25% of 5 and up already have plaque form in their arteries. That's from U.S. News and World Report. Is that me saying that? No. This is credible news sources. 60% of 15 to 19-year-olds, basically high schoolers, had plaque buildup in their coronary artery, which supplies your heart with oxygen. So that's the journal of the AMA. So that's 60% of high schoolers have plaquing in a coronary artery. Usually your most active group, usually. Less than 3 in 10 high school students have consistent physical activity throughout the week. And childhood obesity has more than doubled, and adolescent obesity has tripled in the past 30 years. So since I graduated high school 28 years ago, 1982, basically, childhood obesity has doubled and adolescent obesity has tripled. And I'm still a young guy. When did you graduate high school?
96.
What? Okay, so what's the problem? Okay, and it's getting worse and worse from generation to generation. The problem is, okay, this stuff here. Are you guys? Do you ever look online to get your workouts and to look out what's good for you? Mm-hmm. And how does that work out for everybody? It's confusing because everybody says different stuff, right? It's complicated. It could be expensive because they all want you to buy your programs. It's inconvenient because sometimes if you're doing those bike things or rowing things, you have to do it with a group of people when they're doing it. So this gets to be expensive. It gets to be confusing, and it doesn't have to be so complicated. So when we're talking about you can do great things in 12 minutes, and we're going to discuss the physiology of it, you're going to get into it. And you were here when I said, do we do the 12-minute things, right? Mm-hmm. So exercise is essential. Does that mean it's voluntary? Does that mean it's not important? It's essential. It's like a must for our genome. Like if we don't exercise, we get metabolic disorders, like cancer, obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. Those kind of things. Those are metabolic disorders. So physical inactivity will lead to metabolic dysfunction, metabolic disorders, because that affects your hormone function through your chemistry. So we'll get to that. So exercise, you have to do it. Since you have to do it, you would like to know how to do it efficiently so you don't have to do it all the time.
Yes.
Because how many people, they know everybody who's doing the treadmill for an hour a day for 10 years and hasn't done changed their body at all, right? They're the same as they were 10 years ago. Because it's not the efficient, that classic cardio exercise like that is not efficient. And it's not working, and it builds up cortisol levels, which actually fights your fat breakdown and kills your growth hormone. So those people sometimes actually even gain weight because they're exercising wrong. So they'll do, well, maybe I need to increase my cardio 3 hours a day or something. But what we're going to find out is how inefficient that is and how just doing these 12-minute workouts burns fat better than a 2-hour-a-day workout. To do it that way. But to do it that way, you have to do it a specific way. And even, by the way, even with those 12-minute workouts, they're 20 seconds on and 20 seconds off. So you're really only working out for 6 minutes of the 12 minutes. That's the best part, right, Andrea?
Yes,
I
I love
love
it.
So exercise heals the body. Exercise doesn't heal your body. The lack of exercise, your body requires exercise. So what you need to do to maintain health is one of the things you need to do of those 5 things is to exercise. By not exercising, what you're doing is you're depleting your body's oxygen levels, and you are going to get sick and metabolic disorders, and you're going to be flipping on genetic switches for cancer and diabetes. Now, and heart disease. Your DNA, like if I took a sample of any one of your DNA, if I took a sample of your DNA, from the time you were born to the time you die and even after, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same exact DNA. That never changes. What does change is your RNA. So we're going to talk about RNA today. Now, RNA is your body's replication of your DNA. It's a copy of your DNA that can change. So the RNA is changeable, all right? So the RNA has switches in it, takes a copy of your DNA, and that is transferred to your cells and goes throughout your body. And your RNA is a copy of your DNA is your alphabet. Your RNA, that's the words that can change. The alphabet never changes, but the words can change. Get it? So your RNA, you can switch, even if everybody in your family has died of heart disease or cancer, it doesn't mean you will based upon genetics. You might have their alphabet, but you can change the words to have a different meaning. And you can change the outcome. And you can flip those switches on or off. So I just want to, I mean, fitness does not equal health. And a good example of that is Farrah Fawcett was very fit. Lance Armstrong was very fit. Patrick Swayze was very fit. Died of cancer, had cancer. The man who wrote the complete book of running died of a heart attack. Super fit. Jim Fixx died, what, in his 50s of a heart attack. And he was like the running guru back in the 70s, the first person to get the whole jogging craze going, right? So these were fit people who died. Okay, well, Lance Armstrong didn't die, but he came close with cancer. So does that mean that fitness equals health? Fitness is your ability, it simply means this, your ability to transfer oxygen to your muscles in an efficient way during a specific amount of activity. Whereas health is defined by the World Health Organization as complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So physical, mental, social well-being. For instance, if you're fit, but you're constantly having social problems and mental problems, are you going to probably be healthy or not? If you're stressed out all the time and you're having all kind of mental disorders, you're also going to become sick, right? So fitness isn't just, fitness is one of the 5 essentials, but it alone, all of these things alone aren't good. If you eat perfectly but never work out and you're stressed out all the time and you have a pinched nerve going to your stomach that is causing your stomach to have acid reflux, and you're at home putting all kinds of sprays and Lysols and detergents and fabric softeners and bathroom spray and Glade candles and all these things, you're going to have a lot of toxins and you're not going to be healthy, right? Am I making a point, or am I beating that with like a dead horse? Okay. So the core chiro part is, it's hard to exercise if you're having asthma, breathing problems because of a pinched nerve in your back, right? Or if you have acid reflux. So having your brain connected to your body is an important part of this. So the healing happens from above down. So the brain tells all of your body what to do. So in order to be prepared to exercise, sometimes it's good to have all that in place. Okay. So I just adjusted a 2-month-old baby an hour ago who was having colic, who was screaming at night. The mother's over it. Just saw the baby for the first time today. I'll see the baby again Wednesday. I'll keep you guys posted. But that kind of thing. That baby, if that baby were to get to be 12 years old and go the first 12 years in that kind of misery because of a pinched nerve from the birth process, what's going to become of the life of that baby, right? It's all the exercise in the world isn't going to help the baby if there's a severe nerve pinch problem that's affecting the intestinal tract, right? And they can't even digest their food properly. Okay, so your spine is essential with exercise. What was I going to say about that? So if you get high blood pressure and sciatica and asthma and depression and headaches, a lot of these things are spinally related because the brain's not communicating with the organs properly. You're not putting out the right amount of hormones, and you're getting headaches, depression, because you don't have the right hormone levels. And a lot of people that are doing these low-fat diets, like we'll talk about, all of your hormones are made from cholesterol. So when somebody takes cholesterol-lowering medication, what's likely going to happen later in their life? They're going to need hormone replacement therapy because they're lowering their cholesterol levels to a point where the AMA says this is healthier, right? Well, there's a lot of healthy people with cholesterol over 200, but you're told that's dangerous, right? So if cholesterol makes all your hormones, and you lower that to a point where you eat a low-fat diet and taking cholesterol-lowering medication, then you're going to mess up your hormones to the point where now you're having all kinds of depression problems, headache problems, anxiety. I mean, we're in a world now where, like, the most common drug right now is probably Prozac because everybody's stressed out, okay? So, I mean, they're even giving it to toddlers And that could be because, you know, the information they're feeding our children and the way that our children are eating. We're going to get into some serious ingredient stuff. So the myth, it doesn't matter how hard I work because I have bad genes and because parents were sick, that I will be sick. And so we know that's not right now, right? Because
Right.
DNA is your what? Alphabet. RNA is your what?
Words.
Your words. So you can write your own story. Doesn't that sound good? You can write your own story of health. So that's good. All right, so in other words, there's another way of putting it. Your genetics loads the gun, your lifestyle pulls the trigger. Okay? So if you're flipping certain switches, you might be predisposed in your family. You might have certain markers in your DNA that might make you more likely to have heart disease, but you never have to have it if you don't flip those switches. And you can prevent from flipping those switches by living a proper lifestyle. I'm saying this clearly, right?
Yes.
Thank you. If I'm not, don't tell me I'm not, because we're on Facebook Live. Okay, so is your lifestyle holding you back? You value what you put time and money towards. So here's the thing. I had 2 people working out with me this morning. It takes 12 minutes to do the workout. I'm not going to put any of you guys on the spot, but most of you watch TV 2-3 hours a day, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. But yet you're going to come in here and tell me you don't have time. That's what there is. I don't have time to do a 12-minute workout because of Netflix or whatever. Because people value that more than their own health, I think. But if they really were to sit down and evaluate where they want to be now and 5 or 10 years from now, they would take the time to plan a shopping list, to plan their weeks. You can plan a week's worth of meals in just a couple of hours and be done with the whole week's worth of planning and not have to think about it. But people don't want to take the time to do that. But they do have time to watch. We are going to watch Yellowstone tonight. You guys should watch Yellowstone.
Good
I'm
show.
from North Dakota, so I like Yellowstone. They're from Montana, but North Dakota's better, but this show's made in Montana, so it's okay. But anyway, so I can understand you're watching Yellowstone, but that's 1 hour. But other than that, you got time to work out 12 minutes a day. Am I right?
Yes.
And then you tell me how expensive the food is, but then you go into Starbucks and eating the fast food. And every time somebody wants to debate me on that, I just totally take them down. So is your health a priority? It's like, I know that when you go down to Crop, it costs $11 for a drink because it's organic, cold processed, but it's like 20 cups of greens in a drink, right? And it's really healthy. And yeah, it costs $11, or you can take the time to buy all that stuff, and it would be cheaper. You could do it at home, but spend the money now on your health so that you don't have to spend it later on just trying to stay alive, right? Because by the time you get over 65 and you're taking 8 different medications, you're going to wish you had done those things and invested in your health, right?
Yes.
Right.
So let's talk about excuses. I got this great video. It's like a 1-minute video, really. It's about an Olympian. Some of you may have seen it. Have you seen it?
No.
At one of my talks? It's a great video about excuses as to why you can't work out. And what's some of the most popular excuses?
Too busy.
Too busy.
It's too hard.
It's too hard.
Too lazy.
Too lazy. Yeah, it's true. It's true, right? I mean, you're laughing. That hit a spot. But yeah, you don't feel like it because Yellowstone's on.
It's too hot outside.
Too hot outside. Yeah, because God forbid you sweat when you work. So yeah, I get all that. I get all that. All the same excuses. I use them too. So this is an Olympic athlete. His name is Matt Scott, and he's going to go through a list of excuses he's used, and it's pretty good. So just want to say it real quick.
I'm too weak. Stop. Too big. I ate too much for breakfast. Got a headache. It's raining. Dog is sick. I can't right now. I'm not inspired. It makes me smell bad. I'm allergic to stuff. I'm fat. I'm thin. It's too hot. I'm not right. I've got shin splints. Headache. I'm distracted. Exerting myself too much. I'd love to really, but I can't. I just can't. My favorite show is on. I got a case of Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday. I don't want to do this. I do something else. After New Year's. Next week. Might make a mistake. Got homework. I feel bloated. I have gas. I got a hot date. Coach sleep. My tummy hurts. It's not my genes. I don't want to look all tired now. I need a better coach. I don't like getting tackled. I have a stomach. I'm not the athletic type. I want to get sweaty. I have better things to do. I don't want to slow you down. I have to do this. As soon as I get a promotion, I think I'll sit this one out. And my feet hurt.
Ooh.
Okay, so let's not use excuses because he doesn't use
Wow.
excuses, right? He's a Paralympic athlete, actually. So let's not use excuses.
That was really good.
It's inspirational, isn't it?
Yes.
She's not gonna, and I'm going to show one more later in this talk that's even more inspirational to get you guys to really consider how this can affect your life. So exercise is essential genetic requirement. Our genome is set up for it. Our bodies were made over thousands of years to be out and moving. We require oxygen. We get oxygen from movement, breathing it in. It transfers into our, we have a what's called a phospholipid bilayer. We have a fat layer around every one of our cells. So what's really important now when we talk about nutrition and exercise is that when you eat omega-3 fats, that's the kind of fat that surrounds a cell that allows oxygen to get into the cell, which affects the mitochondria and gives you energy. It also lets the toxic stuff out of the cell. So let's just use meat for example, because we're going to talk about that in a second. A corn-fed cow has a 20-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fat. What does that mean? It means that the fat around the cell is sticky and doesn't allow oxygen in efficiently and doesn't let toxins out. So those cells get sick. And when they get sick and they need energy and they can't get it from oxygen, they start to mutate and they can eventually become cancer cells. Now what's the thing about cancer cells? They don't like oxygen for energy, they like sugar. So a cancer cell, these 6 cells can mutate, and a cancer cell has 8 times the sugar receptors on its cell wall as a normal healthy cell. Because a cancer cell cannot use oxygen for energy. It needs sugar, so it's going to hog up. It puts extra receptors on its cell wall so that it's going to make you crave sugar, right? Because cancer cells can communicate with your gut biome, which communicates with your brain, and will trick you and try to make you eat more sugar. Because when you eat McDonald's all the time, your body creates a lot of these mutated cells that want you to eat more sugar, right? So you become this type of person that has to eat sugar all the time because your cells aren't, because they're getting all this gunky omega-6 to omega-3 ratios off, right? So it can't use oxygen. It's not satisfied with oxygen, and it's too groggy. You need energy. So you have to get that sugar in, because that's another way of giving your cells energy, because they adapt to that in a sick body. But when your body's healthy, and you're not eating sugar all the time, it's able to use oxygen for energy, and then you don't crave sugar as much. And exercise helps you do that, because then it's just pumping oxygen in your body. Cancer doesn't want that. Mutated cells don't want that. So they tend to die off, and the healthy cells that are using the oxygen tend to grow and flourish, which is what you want, right? You want your healthy ones to grow and flourish. Does that make sense what I just said? Okay?
Yes.
Very important that you know that cancer cells have 8 times the receptors for sugar on their cell walls as a healthy cell, because cancer adapts itself to thrive on sugar. So if you keep eating junk, you're going to get cancer, but your cancer is going to thrive, and you might be able to live longer with cancer because you'll be eating sugar all the time, but not much longer. All right? So it's your body's way of adapting to what you're doing to it. Your body will adapt to being a sugar consumer if it's bombarded with sugar all the time. Is it a mystery that we have more cancer than ever? No. And more heart disease than ever? Even though we know more, all of the knowledge of mankind is now on the internet. All of the knowledge of all of man over the history of life can now be accessed. We know that sugar is bad for us, but yet, the commercials and the advertising industry, they just seduce you into the sugar. Like, everybody seen my 9-year-old donuts? They're up here. They were born March 9th of 2011. Still haven't broken down from Dunkin' Donuts there, because there's so many chemicals and preservatives and things in there that they're not broken down. real whole food, like made by God food, usually breaks down in about 3-4 days. It gets bad, yucky, moldy, because it's not full of all the chemicals, the 3,000 chemicals the FDA now allows into our food. And we are 37th in health, and we're 5 out of 6 die of heart disease and cancer. The healthiest country in the world is considered France right now. 7 of the top 10 healthiest countries are in Europe. What's the difference? What's the difference between them and number 37?
Whole foods. Less
They eat more whole foods, less genetically modified foods. They don't allow, I mean, they're going after Monsanto and glyphosate. I mean, they're not allowing that stuff over there anymore because that's like getting into our food and changing our food's genetic makeup. It's like transforming our food into just junk food. That's why there's so much celiac disease and nobody can handle gluten anymore. You can have a gluten if you go to Italy and eat gluten. Nobody says they have a problem with it. You can't have a gluten here because it's all full of glyphosate. Even Cheerios. They examine Cheerios, which a lot of people eat as a healthy like little treat. There's glyphosate in Cheerios. It's into all of our food. Roundup, basically, the weed killer stuff. So if you guys use it in the yard, don't use it at all. If you guys see a beautiful green lawn that's gorgeous, don't even walk in it, or don't let your dog go to the bathroom in it. That is full of chemicals, right? That's glyphosate. That's bad for you. That causes cancer. They know it for sure now. So it's Florida. Your lawn is just, I'm sorry, your lawn is not supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to look like my lawn, which kind of looks like the boulevard out here. It's basically patchy. It looks like the Florida grass, because that's natural Florida there. Those green perfect lawns, those are chemicals. Stay away from them. You're going to be breathing in that stuff. Don't even walk in them. I had a patient who got cancer. He remembers the day he was standing barefoot in his yard, spraying Roundup in there. And it's embarrassingly enough, the guy who got penile cancer and actually had to have it removed, because he remembers the day he was standing in it and his legs were going numb. A year later, he has cancer. So, just a lot of it's common sense. If you're around a lot of chemicals, you've used lots of pesticides and all these chemicals, and if you drink out of plastic bottles a lot, we have a whole class that we do just because we're talking a lot about movement today, but we have classes just on toxicity and all the different makeups and which makeups to really avoid and which plastics and which numbers on the bottom of your plastic bottles. There's this triangular little recycling looking symbol on there, and it has numbers in it. And if that number is a 1 or a 7, I believe, those are really leaching a lot of plastics into your body. I think number 3 is a safer choice. You'll have to look that one up. I'll have to quote me on it. It's been a while since I did that class. But there's certain numbers that really leach a lot of those chemicals into your body.
So would you recommend something like this then, and just fill up your own reusables?
Right, and use either glass, stainless steel. Those are the best receptacles to put your water in.
Okay.
I mean, we were watching a show just last night about France and how they have the whole city of Paris has the water dispensaries all over town that are controlled by their government, that have all the natural spring water with the right amounts of pH and everything in there that are untampered, and everybody just goes and fills up their, and it's free to everybody. They just believe it's a right. So they go there, and you see the population goes there with their stainless steel or glass containers, fills them up. Just happens to be that France is #1 in the world in health by the United Nations by their rating. So what else do they do in Europe that we don't do here? We're number 37, and 7 of the top 10 countries are in Europe. What else they do?
Move.
They move. Sabina was raised in Germany. Her mother still lives there. She's 85 years old. Doesn't take medication. Goes down to the farmer's market daily, right? Goes down to the local farmer's market, which over there typically means no pesticides. It's fresh stuff. She's 85, no medications. She comes here to visit us. She walks like fast, and she's 85. So that's typical of European countries. A low amount of chemical load, and they move around a lot. So movement. nutrition. They keep their stress down because they don't, you know, look in Spain. What do they have, like a 3-hour siesta in the middle of the day?
Perfect.
And that's a real thing.
That would be awesome.
That's a real thing because we have patients that come from Spain. That's a real thing. I mean, if shops are supposed to open up again around 3, that's like a maybe. That's like a maybe. They might be back open at 3. And then they stay open later till 6 or 7, whatever. They're just like, they're not so stressed about this regiment we have. And that's, you know, that's important, right? So not all calories are the same. So would you agree? I don't think it would be much arm twisting to get you guys to agree with me that a Twinkie, for instance, has the same calories as 22 almonds.
No.
A Twinkie, or a 22 almonds, same calories, which is healthier.
Almond.
Right. And why is that?
They're whole foods.
Basically, a Twinkie is what?
Processed
Sugar.
sugar. Yeah.
Processed
Nothing.
sugar.
It's nothing.
So what kind of cells are going to like a Twinkie?
Cancer.
Cancer cells.
What kind of cells are going to like the proteins and the good fats that are in almonds? Those are going to be the healthy cells with the right ratios of omega. Now, a grass-fed cow, by the way, I didn't finish that story because I have ADD. 2-to-1 ratio. They have a 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, which is considered the perfect ratio. A 2-to-1 ratio is what your cell wall has of omega-6 to omega-3 fats.
What did you say this is?
Grass-fed cows.
Grass-fed cows.
Corn-fed cows have a 20-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. So they are much more omega-6, which is the more sticky, more heavy fat that clogs up the cell so that toxins can't get out and oxygen can't get out. Okay? So nutrition. Don't sabotage your workout. It's hard to outrun your fork. In other words, if you're gonna eat a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar, I mean, how many burpees did I read at the gym that you have to do to burn off one slice of pizza? It's like insane.
150. Wasn't it 150?
It's like
Did you see that at UFIT?
I must have been UFIT.
Oh. Yeah.
It's like 150 burpees
Was it 150? I thought it was even more than that, but yeah.
for one slice of pizza. So here's what people don't get. You don't get thinner by working out harder.
Yeah.
You don't. Working out will change your body shape, but it will not change your size. Your size is going to come from your nutrition, right? So no matter how much you work out, and no matter how many calories you burn, you have to eat right in order to change your body's, have a healthy weight. You can change your shape and have more muscle mass, and yes, still be healthier by working out, even if you don't eat right, as compared to not working out. But eating right will change, what's going to make you lose weight is your diet more importantly than your physical activity level. So eat your healthy fat to burn fat. And this is what throws a lot of people off. That Twinkie is going to make you have more fat cell gain than fat will. Fat will not make you make more fat. Fat actually helps you burn fat. It signals your body to use the fat. So eating healthy fat like avocados and nuts and seeds and olives and healthy like organic whole cheeses and meats that are grass-fed, no hormones, no antibiotics, all these things. Or that makes you cringe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Andrea's a vegan.
Right.
So what I just said was evil. So let's say you're not a vegan, then you would eat those things. You would certainly, if you weren't a vegan, you would certainly eat.
Well, see, I'm non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free, organic, vegan.
Yes. You survive on oxygen and max T3 workouts.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so change your animal products first. If you do eat animals, that's the first thing because they're the most nasty, dirty things. They got hormones, antibiotics. They don't even feed them right. They give cows corn instead of grass, and then they're all thrown out. Even if it's organic corn, they're supposed to eat grass, not corn. So the corn will because corn's too many carbs. So the carbs makes you gain a lot of fat, and it throws off your omega-6 to omega-3 fat ratio. You're supposed to eat grass. They love grass. Give them grass. They just don't want to because it takes a little bit longer to get a cow to go from 80 pounds to 800 pounds. It takes like 8 months when they do it the farm factory way. It takes like 2 years normally. And they don't want to wait the 2 years. So then they feed them all that junk and they give them the growth hormones and all those things, right? So basically, one of the patients, they told me losing weight is easy. You just exercise more and eat less. But you know what the problem with that is? Is you have to exercise more and eat less. So as you exercise right and eat the right things, you're not going to worry about portions. If you're eating the right things, portions ain't your problem at all. And you can exercise less and more efficiently, like 12 minutes, and burn fat longer, like you're about to find out. So bad fats, fats that are made by man, hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. You never want to have these things. You don't want soy grain, vegetable oils, cottonseed oil. You don't want margarine and synthetic butters, because when I have a picture somewhere where we put a plate, it was margarine and butter on the plate. The ants were all over you put the plate in the grass, the ants are all over the butter. They ain't touching the margarine. So even ants know better than to eat margarine, okay? They don't even recognize it as food, like the lowest form of life even knows that's not food. So margarine. So canola oil, this is the biggest myth of all. Everybody thought canola oil was so healthy. Canola oil is an acronym. It means Canadian oil low acid. It is rancid rapeseed oil. It is rancid from the moment you buy it off the shelf. It's already rancid. Canola oil is rancid oil. You do not have canola oil in your house. If it's in your house, get it out of your house. Don't even give it to the ants. Get rid of it. Don't even give it to people you hate. Corn oil, canola oil, those labeled simply vegetable oils, found in practically every bread, cracker, cookie, and boxed food that's processed. Uses that as a shortcut. Now here's your healthy fats. Extra virgin olive oil, avocados and olive oil, coconut oil, raw nuts, seeds, and oils. Real butter, raw cheese, like in France, where they eat a lot of? They eat a lot of fat in France. Healthiest country in the world. Raw cheese and yogurt, grass-fed, meats, eggs, whole milks, fatty fish, Pacific or wild salmon, small fish, sardines. But right about here is where, if you're vegan, just stop right about here.
Yes.
If there happens to be one here.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk. Okay, FDA allows, this is important, FDA allows 3,000 food additives into our system. We eat, per person, 140 pounds per person a year of the toxins. Of those 3,000 chemicals, we eat 140 pounds per person in this country a year of the chemical additives, colorings, flavorings, preservatives, such as in those donuts. 140 pounds per year. And this is mostly this is the Center for Disease Control Statistics. It's not like I'm making this stuff up. You can't make it up. Now there's a Lunchable. This is a Lunchable. What you call it? Ingredient list.
Whoa.
Just for that, and this is what I guess I would venture to say. What? How many? You got kids?
Yeah.
80% of the kids have that in school.
Oh yeah, they'll eat them. Yep.
Lunchables. And that is mostly garbage. A lot of sodium nitrate in there, which is absolutely a neurotoxin, very bad for you. All these red and blue colorings and preservative BHA, it just every just nasty. It's got aspartame and sucralose in there. Sucralose is actually a sweetener that releases chlorine into your bloodstream. Thiamine mononitrate. These nitrates and nitrites. These are all neurotoxin stuff. Okay, this is bad stuff. The sodium nitrate. Oh, forget about it. Anyway, that's a Lunchable thing, and then we wonder why, kids are taking Prozac because they're losing their minds because they just got no they're malnourished. They got no chance, right? And it's because we allow the marketing industry to do this to us. Like McDonald's hamburger buns have high fructose corn syrup in them, which are high fructose corn syrup is a very addictive sweetener that tricks hormones in our fat cells called leptin to not release to our brain to tell us we're full. So when you're putting high fructose corn syrup in everything, they put it in their French fries. That your brain's not getting signal it's full because it's suppressing the hormone leptin in your fat cells, which is what comes out and tells your brain you're full. High fructose corn syrup bypasses that. So all the restaurants have figured that out. So they put it in their salads, they put it in their buns, they put it in their meat, they put it in their French fries, they put it in everything. We had Pamela, whose kids used to work here, patient of mine, O'Connor. She used to work at McDonald's, and they had a certain amount of sugar they would soak the fries with. What sugar? The French fries, because it wants you to order more because it gives you. I mean, that's why so many people will order 3 hamburgers and then 2 hours later, like, I could use enough. Let's go to McDonald's again tonight. It's addictive, and it turns off that mechanism. And even when our daughter Chiropractic worked at Olive Garden, she said they put lots of sugar in those salads. See? Olive Garden salad.
Oh, wow.
It's just, it's such a great salad. They are great salads. They taste great. She says they do add sugar to them. Is this upsetting? Have I hurt
I'm
you?
just wondering what's left to eat.
Right?
Seriously.
Well, when we put the fat list up, that's nuts and seeds and olive oils and avocados and chard and arugula and all the greens are good. Most fruits are good. Papaya, good enzymes. Pineapple, raspberries, colorful berries. Okay. You were asking, what do you eat? Like in the morning, a good thing to eat would be berries. If you're going to have your grains, you'd have them in the morning. Most of your carbs have them in the morning. Right, Judith? Carbs in the morning. Why? If you go to bed with carbs, let's say you eat pasta at night before going to bed. You've just put a whole bunch of carbohydrates in your system. Carbohydrates convert to what if you don't use them?
Sugar.
Right, which convert to what if you don't use them?
Fat.
Correct. So people that eat pasta and at night and have a dessert at night and then go to bed are loading up with carbohydrates that are going to convert to fat while they sleep. Better to have those carbohydrates in the morning after you fasted all night. You have the rest of the day to burn them, right? So heavy on your carbs in the morning. If you're going to have cake in the morning. If you're going to have apple pie in the morning. If you're going to have, what do people eat at night? Ice cream in the morning. At night is when you're going to have your omelets. It's when you're going to have your salmon salads, your chicken stir-fry cashew with broccoli. That's at night. Those are high protein and fat, low carb. So you're going to bed giving yourself repair food. Proteins and fats are repair food. Carbs are energy food. Carbs are in the morning. You got the rest of your day to use carbs. So carbs in the morning, right? Carbs in the morning with almond milk, not cow's milk. Did I do that, Andrea?
Yeah.
So you got your almond milk, you got your grains, and then you got your berries, all the colorful berries, with the great phytonutrients and the antioxidants, like the blueberries and the raspberries. Those are so good because they're cancer fighting.
Are cheeses good?
Cheeses are good if it's more of a raw cheese, like your hardened cheeses, like the Parmesan and the hardened cheeses. Your processed cheeses, like your American cheese.
Oh, like just cheddar cheese or Monterey Jack cheese?
Cheddar can be, if it's like really sharp cheddar, that could be more raw, yeah.
So
But if you're
sharp
getting into
cheddar.
the more mild cheddar, that's more processed, right? So more sugar added, more processed, less, it's further away from its
So sharper
origin.
better.
Yeah,
Sharp.
the cheddar. The sharper the better. Okay? Oh, this is a big one. I need to be in the fat burning zone as long as I can. Now, we just talked about earlier how when you're doing that steady state cardio exercise for an hour or two, you're building up cortisol levels and you're lowering growth hormone levels. When you do the 12-minute workouts, which is the burst training workouts, you're doing the opposite. You're burning up cortisol, that goes down, and your growth hormone goes up. And when your growth hormone goes up, after those 12-minute workouts, then you've got about 36 hours of fat burning going on. When you're doing the cardio workouts for 2 hours on the treadmill, you're burning the fat for 2 hours, and then it stops right after that. There's no more. Because of that steady state, long term, your body stops burning fat after you're done with that workout. But when you do the on-off burst training like we're talking about, then your growth hormone spike causes you to burn fat for up to 36 hours. That's why it's more efficient than the long steady state cardio. Now, of course, the long distance runners are going to run so much that they're going to burn off a lot of their fat, right? Because they run way more than they're intaking. But here's what I want to mention. If you had the choice of being a sprinter or a marathoner, which would you choose?
Sprinter.
Why?
So it could be over with faster.
Now they have, okay, sprinters tend to be healthier. They're more muscular. They're more vibrant. Because their training is more on and off burst training. Whereas these long distance runners tend to be emaciated, wearing out their joints. They die younger because they're getting wore out from driving their cortisol levels so high and growth hormones low. So be the sprinter, don't be the marathon runner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. If a little's good, then a lot must be better. And that's where people get into this mindset where, gosh, if working out for a little while is good, then 2 hours is great. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not important what you burn during your exercise. It's what you burn after. And this is what I was talking about. When you go 2 hours of steady exercise, your growth hormone goes down, your cortisol levels go up. So that means you shut down the burning process, and you will not burn after you're done working out. So the classic cardio, you're burning it while you're using it, okay? And your post-exercise oxygen consumption drops heavily right after. Your metabolic, your Metcon, they call it, Metcon, metabolic conditioning, afterburn. You got your 12 minutes here, and then you're burning all the way up to 36 hours. Because you've got that hormone working for you. Because of the hormone. Because of the growth hormone. Growth hormone burns fat. And because you've raised growth hormone exercising this way and not depleted it. Remember, you're depleting growth hormone this way, right? You're increasing it this way, you're depleting it this way. You're burning calories because you're exerting yourself for an hour straight, but you've also caused yourself not to burn afterwards because of the hormone. It's because of the hormone. They call it metabolic conditioning because of the way it affects your hormones. You get that growth hormone up. I don't care if you have to exercise 1 minute. If you can get the growth hormone up, you're going to burn fat afterwards for a long time. Because that growth hormone does last for a while. Here's what really does kind of kill a growth hormone thing, is if you eat a lot of sugar right after a workout. So you'd want to have more of a fat or protein after a workout. Like if people do protein after workout, that's okay because that's repairing. But if you do sugar after workout, then you're kind of killing that growth hormone effect because you're spiking your insulin response, that's another thing in our hormone workshop, which is the one we're doing next month. I'll tell you before we go when that is. But the hormone workshop is when we'll talk about how now if your insulin kicks in, that kills your growth hormone. And insulin kicks in if you do the sugar. Now it's getting kind of complicated because that's a whole nother topic, just
So
hormones.
sugar is just something that should be avoided if you can.
That's kind
if
of a
you can
theme at
just
all my
eat it.
talks. Sugar is bad. I mean, you can get the lower sugar fruits, like the berries, is what you should have more of. The higher sugar fruits, like your apples and oranges, you can have. I mean, I'm not saying an apple was horrible for you, but you want to stick more. And the juices of fruits, you never want to just have the juices because that's just basically squeezing the sugar out and leaving out all the fiber and nutrients. So you don't want to have the juice of the fruit. You want to have the fruit. So if you're juicing, juice the whole fruit and keep it. Like the hydraulic press juicers are the best because you kind of keep the pulp and everything together. Okay, so time, type, and tempo. Those are the 3 T's of the Max T3. Your time is short. Your tempo is fast. Okay, and the type of exercises, whether you're doing upper body, lower body, or whatever. But your anabolic hormones, which is your burn fat, build muscle hormones, are jacked upward when you do quick. And this is going to be the next thing is super, super important. And then I'm going to show you. I'll show you the exercises we did this morning. I'll show you all 6 of them because it won't take that long to show you. We do 18 rounds of 20 seconds, and we do 6 different exercises 3 times. 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off. But when you're doing it, you have to get your heart rate. This is the most important. The whole talk is about what I'm about to say. 80 to 90% of your maximum heart rate is what you want to reach in order to get. Now, what's your maximum heart rate? That's safe. 220, the number 220 minus your age, and now you take 80% of that. Let's say I'm 50, roughly. So 220 minus 50 is 170, right? You take 80% of 170, now you're at about 140-ish. So my maximum heart rate would be about 140. My maximum heart rate is 170, but to get the anabolic hormones going, to do the training, like Max T3, you have to get it to 80% of your maximum heart rate for that 20 seconds. But then you stop and you suck wind for 20 seconds. So it's okay. You bring your heart rate back down. Then you bring it back up. But you keep it in that range. Now let's say you're older. Let's say you're 70. Well, now that's going to go significantly lower. It's not going to take as much effort for you to get your heart rate there, and it's safer. So let's say you're 70. You're going to go 220 minus 70 or 150. Now you're at about 120 is your maximum heart rate. Well, very doable for a 70-year-old, isn't it? So a 70-year-old gets down to 120 for that 20 seconds. And the way we do our exercises, I'll show you with stretchy bands. This morning's exercise was all stretchy bands. Now the catabolic hormones are the hormones that build fat and waste muscle. And those would be like cortisol, okay? Anabolic hormones would be like growth hormone, testosterone, those things, okay? They're almost there. High intensity, exercise is best. Optimizes your hormones, gets your fat burning, and builds muscle. Whereas that long, steady state, like the marathon example, it starts to burn up your muscle too. The sprinter has muscle. Now here's a colleague of mine. I did a big class over at the bank across the street where we had everybody get up and do some of these things. I won't do that to you, but one of my colleagues did, so I'm just going to show you one of his. Just how he did an example. He just got everybody up. I think he did it at a church or something. Dr. Roberto did this. So it doesn't matter really what you're doing as long as you're getting your heart rate up. So you can just run in place, you can do jumping jacks, you can do whatever. And some of these people are older, some of them are younger, it doesn't matter. You do what is to your level. Like these people over here, they're going, right? The thing is, you go all out and then you take a break, but it doesn't last that long. In my group that I belong to a 300 chiropractors who belong to this group called Max Living. And this doctor, he's one of the top guys that got us in with the Olympians, so he's like does the Olympic wrestling team and all that. Anyway, that's just an example of classes we've done where we got. Now I'll show you just real quick, and this is easy, and you guys will, and you'll want to come to one of our classes. This is what we did this morning. Hang on.
I already want to come.
Okay, so I'm back. Anybody eat those donuts I was gone? Okay, so what we started with was push-ups. So some people are pushing up against the wall like this. And so what they would do, depending on your fitness level, you would just go as fast as you can like this for 20 seconds, right? You're also working your triceps, your chest, your shoulders, all that. or you can do it on the floor or on the table, whatever, okay? So we did 3 rounds of that. 20 seconds, go, 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 go. And then go, go, go. 20 off, 20 on, like that. Then the next one was we put the band under our feet, palms forward, 20 seconds, as fast as you can. And your biceps are like, okay, as fast as you can. So you do that for 20 seconds off, and so we do that 3 rounds. Then we do, and that's for your biceps. So we just did triceps, chest, shoulders, and biceps with just those 2 workouts. Now we're going to do shoulders and trapezius, so we go out like this. Fast as we can. Back there. I got plenty of bands for everybody. We go nuts for 20 seconds, 3 rounds, right? That gets your traps. But now, this is a tough one. Then we go straight up. Now there's different levels of bands too. This is a real tough band. So then this one, we do 3 rounds of straight up in the air. Fast as you can, which just tortures your triceps. But it's only 20 seconds. You can do anything for 20 seconds. We're talking 12 minutes of this. So 3 rounds of that. And then we have this pole back there that we wrap this around. Just hold on this for a second. Let's say this is wrapped around a pole. Hang on to that with your hand.
Okay.
So there's a pole that goes around. We're all standing around this pole, right? So we do rowing exercise. We stand there and we go fast as we can. And we're pulling. Get your back muscles. Get your wings here, your lats and all that. Okay, let go of that. And then we do, when that's all done, so now we're up to, that was 15 rounds of 3 times 5. Then we do what's called diamond push-ups. The worst. So, the real tough of them on the floor. But you make your hands into a diamond, like on the wall, and you put your head into it and back. And so you do that as fast as you can, 3 rounds. And by then, it's been 12 minutes and you're spent. I'm telling you. So I just showed you 6. That was our workout this morning. And trust me. So here's how you know you had a good workout. You don't sweat that much during your workout, but as soon as your workout's over, you sweat.
Question for you. Do you rotate upper body, lower body, or is it always just upper body still?
No, we rotate. So on this Friday, it's all lower body. And I could show you though.
Show us the lower body.
You want to show? Okay. So lower body will do what we call prison squats. You put your hands behind your neck. I'm sure you guys are all familiar. Carrie, you're really familiar with this one.
Right.
Prison squat. So this one,
Yeah.
so as fast as you can, you're squatting down where your legs are bent about 90 degrees with your hands behind your head. We do 3 rounds of that. Okay? Then we do these duck walks back there where we're doing lunges.
Yes.
Brutal, right? Brutal. So we do those 20 seconds and we do 3 rounds of that. Then we do what's called good mornings. You take your butt and you pretend you're sitting on a toilet, so to speak. So you're and then you get up like it's too cold. So you're doing that.
What do
And
you
you do
call
that.
What do you call those?
Those are called good mornings.
Good mornings.
And so you do that, and that's brutal because that gets your butt and your hams a lot, and your quads. Okay, and then we do toe raises where you turn your feet in, lock your knees, and we go nuts like this until you get up to about 60 of those bad boys because you get a lot done in 20 seconds. And then you do where your feet are parallel and then straight out. By the time you get to the straight out ones, when you're done, you're kind of going, your calves, which is good, right? I mean, remember, this is quick. Then we do what's called cowabungas. We spread our legs, and we bring our knees so they just get to like above our big toe. And we'll do them, you're cranking them out. By this point, you're really feeling it. And then we finish strong with what we call prayer squats.
Yes, I like that.
And they call them prayer squats because you just pray for them to be done. Because by this point of the exercise, your legs feeling it. So what you do is everybody stands and looks at me, and all the first timers, we always test them, don't we?
Yeah.
We go, when my hands hit, we start.
Yes.
So I stand like this, and we're all facing each other. And I usually go like this and stop, and then they clap, and then they get singled out, and I make them do extra. But so if you're ever back there when we're doing like on Friday, make sure I clap first.
Yes.
Okay? So then we meet, And then we come down. Now, you don't have to leave the ground. See, that's where everybody's different. If you're not able to do that, you can stay on the ground, but you got to crank them up because you want to get your heart rate to 80%. Studies have shown, I have it in here, that people that get it to that 89%, and the studies that they've done, well, it's come up. That's our workout. If time drops, intensity has to increase. So the studies they've done are the people that do this way, that do the 80 to 90% of their maximum heart rate, they're the ones that get the quick fat loss, but then they did a study on the group that only got to 60 or 70%. They had no fat loss. You have to get it to that 80%, whatever that is for you. Now, some people, if they're really out of shape, it takes about 2 squats and they're like, body is going 120 beats a minute, you know. That's okay, because that means you're getting it there. You'll get to a point where it's harder for you to get it to 100. The more fit you are, the harder, then you have to work harder. At first, I mean, you're doing it like this, and you're already, but you're getting it to that, which means you've started the process, and your body's starting to get fit.
How are you measuring heart rate?
Well, a lot of people have those watches now, but otherwise you could check your pulse.
Just check your pulse.
Yeah. A lot of times we'll bring a clock back there so you can see the second hand. Let's take off the wall or whatever, you know. So, or else I'll time it on my phone for, you know, to check the heart rates. A lot of people have the watches, so I'll just do my own and totally stop and start. Okay, so, and a lot of people, they don't work out because, so breathe hard. So, when we're doing the workouts, if you're able to chat while you're working out, then you're not, you should be out of breath. If you're able to chat while you're getting 80 to 90%, then you're not at 80 or 90%. So you have to be breathing hard, because remember, it's only 20 seconds, not the end of the world. You can do anything for 20 seconds. Sweating is gross. We call it sparkling now. It's not sweating, it's sparkling. The word sweat is gross, we're going to go with sparkle, okay? So the truth is, not sweating is bad because there's certain toxins like heavy metals that your liver and kidneys can't get rid of that you can get rid of with sweat. So sweating is good. So if it's humid out, it's good to sweat. It really is. So there's certain phthalates, they call them, and certain bisphenol A, which is what leaches from the plastic water bottles, bisphenol A. That you get out with sweat. That comes out of your body through excreting through sweat. So by sweating, you're getting rid of heavy metals and bisphenol A and urea and things that which are byproducts of your kidneys not being able to keep up with the toxins. You get those out with sweat. And your largest organ is your body is what? Your skin. So when you're sweating everywhere, you're getting a lot of toxins out. So it's actually bad not to sweat. You want to sweat. Now with this type of workout, you don't sweat as much during as you do right after. Gosh, I've got over an hour. Okay, exercise, toxicity, blah, blah, blah. You were created with a major root of unload all this damaging, disease-producing chemicals. Sweat, get it out. Sweat it out. It's good. You know, even these saunas are good. We're going to order a sauna for our house. Okay, let's say you're not sweating. Then you're either A, not hydrated, or B, not working hard. Like, you know, what'd you do this weekend? While you're working out? No. What'd you do? That would be better. All right, so push yourself 220 minus your age. That's your maximum. And you take 80% of that, and you are at what's called metabolic conditioning. You're at metabolic conditioning. You are working your hormones in your favor, and you will get your growth hormone up, and you will be burning it for 36 hours as long as you don't put too much of this in your body. Don't sabotage yourself. Avoid the foods high in sugar, high fat, moderate protein, low carb snacks, okay? Nuts, seeds, these are good snacks like almonds, walnuts, good omega-3 fat, walnuts, olives, capers. Well, you need to sweat, pulls toxins from your body, okay? So 30-day movement challenge, what I'll do is if you guys text me, you guys have my cell number? My cell number is this, 941-822-4325. So if you text me, we're going to do a 30-day movement challenge, which if you text me, we'll get you started. We have a scale in the back that nobody has to know about. I mean, I could be like a priest on this one. I mean, I could take this one to my grave. But it tells me your weight, your body fat percentage, your water weight, your organ fat percentage, and your bone mass. You stand on it. It's got these metal plates. It's called a Tanita scale. And it measures all of these things. Bone, water weight. I'm going to see your weight, fat percent, all this. It's okay. It doesn't leak. By the mafia can take care of me if I ever announce anybody's numbers to anybody. And then if you guys want to have a conversation with me about the things that help you recover, like the Max Fit, which is a product we sell for people that need to recover quicker because they're not used to working out and they get so sore. And the proteins and the omegas, we sell all this. Especially the omega-3s we sell a lot of because it's so important for your heart. And of course, all your cells are made of fat layers. And if people aren't getting enough fat, there you go.
So we text you and say what?
So here's my 822-435. Say I want to do a 30-day challenge, or if you want to ask me about the workouts. Because with the 30-day challenge, if you guys decide you want to do the 30-day challenge, I want to do a weigh-in with you, and we can set that up when you text me. And then we can get all your numbers down, and then then every day, I'm going to be communicating with you and writing you like a pack mule for you to get that down in 30 days. So it's going to be, I'll be all on you like coach. Okay. To get involved with 30-day challenge or any questions, my hormone reboot workshop is going to be on September 21st. That's where we go into all the hormones, how the cholesterol makes the hormones, why the growth hormone goes up and the cortisol, they're inversely related, how insulin gets played into that, what the sugar does, why you need to avoid sugar, because you need to avoid sugar. So I just got to explain why again, because everybody wants to eat sugar. So I got to explain why. No, you can't have sugar. So then that helps people understand why. And if you understand why, you're less likely to just eat it all the time, right? So it's on the 21st. That's going to be here again, 6:30. It's a Monday, 21st September. So register, please, because I can only fit a few of you here during this time. And then the rest will be on, I don't even know if that worked. I don't even know. That may or may not have worked. I've never done it before. You either have seen all this or not seen all this. But okay, now I'm going to let you guys go. This is a little 3-minute video. But I'm telling you guys, do you guys know the Hoyts?
No.
The most inspirational video I've ever seen. This is a guy who, when he was about 40, his son is totally disabled, was born, I think, with the cord around his neck, can't speak. He speaks with a computer, to get his thoughts out. He can't move. Totally incapacitated. And in fact, the doctors were telling, put him in this special home and all this. But no, he kept his son. Okay, his son got to high school. And they figured out by that point, this is about in the 80s or so. This is a long time ago now. It's about 35 years ago. His father was about 40. His name is Dick Hoyt. You'll see him on here, and Rick. They are famous in the marathon world and in the world of fitness. But anyway, there was this fundraiser at the high school, and his son said, "Dad, can you push me?" He communicated him through the computer. "Can you push me in this thing because somebody in the high school had passed or something as a fundraiser for the family?" And his dad, his dad was all out of shape, didn't want to do it, but he does it. He's huffing and puffing. It was like a 1 mile thing, right? But it gave his son so much joy that he has since run in 31 Boston marathons. He's done, now, he didn't start till he was 40. So he's now in his 70s still doing this.
The father?
Yes. His son is in his 40s. In a wheelchair. You'll see. And it's the most inspirational thing in the world because he's never run one of these races without his son. And he got to a point in his 40s where he was an hour and a half off the world record with pushing his son, and like he probably could have broke the world record had he not had his son, but he would never do it without his son. But so they've done it like 31 times. They got the ESPN award for most, like 2 years ago, for the most inspirational sports people. And they become famous in the sports world. But if this doesn't get you motivated to want to just do stuff, nothing will. It's unbelievable. And this is Dick and Rick Hoyt, and it's a tearjerker.
So glad that you guys are here with me today.
This ain't it.
We will pick up our pace.
Okay. Okay, this is Rick, and he has to type stuff out with his mouth or something.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak?
Oh, he does triathlons with him too. Those are like 12-hour events.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun.
You have to swim 2 miles in the ocean, pulling him by.
When all I do is forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing
He's
hallelujah?
about to go on a 112-mile bike ride.
Speak it all, I can only imagine.
So this is Ironman triathlon.
I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you.
Anyway,
I can
that
only
something?
imagine.
That's dedication.
okay. That's a 2-mile swim, a 112-mile bike ride, followed by a 26-mile full marathon. And he ran maybe 20 of those with him. 31 Boston marathons with him. And it's all because, when he was accepting this award, because they didn't think his son, until they figured out how to get him to communicate this way, had anything going on up there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they showed him graduating from college, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because he actually is smart, and he's a motivational speaker. They go out and speak together, motivationally.
I heard him.
So that is
I
just
heard
like-
the father speak.
Unbelievably inspirational. And his son, when they got the award 2 years ago, he goes, I just want to thank my father for saying yes 40 years ago to that walk in my school and doing this. So it's just changed his life. So yeah, they are quite a hit on the circuit. So anyway, that's to give you motivation to get moving, because this is a movement workshop. We've told you how you can do it. It doesn't take long. When you text me, I can even give you links and things. I think it costs $10 or $15 for a link to see all these workouts if you wanted to do them at home, even from people like in the Max Living group that I'm in. So, but you can always come and join us and do them too, because then that makes sure you do. Like Andrea's here every Friday because she knows if she comes here. Like Kim, who comes here all the time, she goes, because she missed like a month or so because of the COVID thing. And she's like, I didn't do them. I know how to do them all. I just didn't. So when she comes here, she does them. And she gets something
So
out.
the 30-day challenge, it includes working from home as well?
Yep. So what I'll do is every day I would be sending you like workouts and things that I want you doing that day. Even if it's just one of those, that you have to do that day, just to keep you on your toes and to do it, and to maybe check in with you on, make sure you have your carbs in the morning, fats and proteins at night. So at night it's not going to be ice creams for breakfast, not for dinner. If it's your birthday, your cake is for breakfast, not for after you have your pasta dish at Carrabba's. No. If you're going to have pasta, it's for breakfast, because then it gives you the whole day to burn off the carbs. Makes sense, right? Carbs are a energy food that converts to fat if not used. So you got all day to use your carbs. At night, you use your fats and proteins to burn fat. Okay, gosh, I pushed you.
This was
It's
awesome.
already 8 o'clock, but I hope you learned something. This Friday at 7:30, I'll be out back. Andrea will be out
I'll
back.
be there.
And if you guys are here, we'll do it. Otherwise,
It's outside?
yeah, we just do it right out back.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So it's not in the building, it's out in fresh
No.
air, so that's good.
No. Now ask me, what do we do if it's raining?
We work out anyway.
We get what?
It's only 12 minutes.
So you park out front and walk through, or?
Yeah, the door will be open because I'll be here. But it's it's out back, and it's been pretty warm already. By 7:30.
So it ends
'Cause it's
about
Florida.
a quarter till.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it
Just have to work at least, so.
well, it makes you finish. I'm gonna